There was once a blind man who knew the world not through his eyes, but through the extension of himself. His cane touched the ground, and in that moment, where did he end? And where did the world begin? And as you think about that now, isn't it interesting how boundaries shift? Sometimes they open, sometimes they close. And somewhere between knowing and not knowing, you've already begun to learn something new. Because you see, there's something profound about knowing where you begin and where you don't. About extending yourself to touch the world and pulling back to say, this is me. And the more you allow yourself to feel this now, the more something inside begins to shift in just the right way. And isn't it true that we're open to the larger field? The stories we carry, they're not just ours. They're living systems passed on, shaped, reshaped. And like a river that flows, always moving, yet always the same, your unconscious mind, it already knows how to update, to adapt, to transform, in ways that are completely natural. Because here's the thing, you already know how to step into who you are. You already know what's not you. And yet, with the vast possibilities of who you could be, there are decisions, aren't there? I'm not this kind of person. This is not me. And as you say that to yourself, something deep inside aligns, strengthens. Because knowing what you're not makes what you are more clearer. And maybe, just maybe, you're beginning to understand how powerful this is. How powerful you are. Because the world is always changing, and you have the choice to open, to close, to extend, to withdraw, with complete freedom, to hold just tightly enough, and let go just gently enough, so that nothing breaks. And it's fascinating, isn't it? How something inside is shifting already. There was once a traveller who'd forgotten where they began, or perhaps they never needed to know. With each step, the ground became part of them, and the horizon was never a place, but a movement, an invitation, a whisper of something just beyond. And as you listen, there's a part of you that's always understood this, hasn't it? The way boundaries shift, the way self flows into something greater, that you can extend beyond what you thought you were, and yet still return to the centre of who you are. And as you allow that understanding to settle in, as if it were always there, something inside begins to shift. Because it's interesting how we open, how we close, how we decide, without even deciding, where we begin and where we don't. It happens in a breath, in a moment, in a knowing that doesn't need words. Because the most powerful realizations, they don't come as thoughts, but as something deeper, something you've already started to feel even now. And as you continue to notice this, perhaps you can also begin to recognize the way stories live within you, the way they're carried, not just in words, but in the way you move, the way you breathe, the way your body already knows things that your mind hasn't yet put into words. Because stories are alive, aren't they? Passed from one to another. Shaping and reshaping, adapting, always relevant. And maybe you've noticed how you, too, are always updating, always shifting effortlessly, aligning with what's already true. Because there are things you've always known. There are things you're only now beginning to realise. And the moment you realise that, you can also begin to notice how naturally the pieces are all falling into place. After all, you've made decisions, haven't you? You've already chosen, even before you knew you had. I'm not this kind of person. This isn't me. And the more you know what you're not, the stronger the knowing of who you are becomes. And there's something deeply freeing about that. Because once you see it, once you feel it, once you recognise it within yourself, it simply is. And it's fascinating, isn't it? How the body understands, how it adapts, how it learns without needing to try. How every part of you is a part of something larger, and yet entirely uniquely yours. How everything is connected, and yet you've always known what is you and what is not. And as this realization unfolds, just as it was always meant to, maybe you can begin to notice just how powerful you are. Because the world is always shifting, and you've always known exactly how to move with it. And now you can feel that in a way you never have before.